Today I really wanted some chocolate chip cookies, but I am just too blame busy to do the mixing, the chilling, the scooping, the baking in batches. So today we're making chocolate chip cookie bars. So for these chocolate chip cookie bars, we have 1 cup of unsalted butter melted and cooled down. To that we are adding 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar, 1 cup of packed light brown sugar. These bars hit all the bells and whistles on your tongue of wonderful chewy chocolate chip cookies. But they're done in less than half the time. If you count chill time and everything and baking in batches and all that stuff, these are done in a fraction of the time. And you stir that together until it's all mixed up like that. Don't need a mixer either. Everything comes together so quickly. Now to this, we are going to add 2 large eggs and 1 large egg yolk. The reason you are doing a yolk instead of another whole egg is you want these to be chewy, not cakey. So that egg yolk will add a nice chewiness. Where if you added another whole egg, that egg white in there would make for a cakiness. So we're going to get that initially mixed around, and now we are going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Roughly measured, of course. Now you want to mix all this in thoroughly. Now for our dry ingredients. We have 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. We have 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, which will help with the chewiness as well. We have 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder, not baking soda. Now we are just going to stir these things together to get any lumps out or anything like that that may be hiding in that flour or in any of the ingredients. Now we are going to add the dry ingredients in about 2 parts. It gets a little stiff and a little hard to work with if you add it all in at once. But just remember, don't overmix with your first mix in, because you will develop too much gluten and you will have tough cookie bars. And while that may be fun to say to somebody, well, tough cookie bars, they're not fun to eat. Now we've got that installment all mixed in. Now we're going to throw in our last one. But with that one, we are also going to throw in our chocolate chips. That way they get nice and coated with the flour, and that way they don't all sink to the bottom of the cookie bars. They stay well distributed throughout. So you guys know, if you've been watching me for long, I am not a one-dimensional flavor or a one-dimensional texture girly. I like multiple flavors and multiple textures. So for this, we are adding 1 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips and 1 cup of milk chocolate chips. Now, I know you see there's a huge size difference. I know you see that. I've had people comment on that before. Why is there such a huge size difference? It's because the brand of chocolate chips that I choose to use, it is a brand out of San Francisco called Guittard. And in my opinion, they are the best chocolate chips you will ever use. It is the best tasting chocolate. It is also much cleaner than other chocolate. No, I am not an affiliate. I just really love the product. Now, make sure you get down to the bottom, but don't overmix. You don't want to work out that gluten. Now see, everything is already together and ready to go into the pan. No chilling. Now I have a 13x9 baking dish lined with parchment paper. You will thank me later if you line it with parchment paper. Come out much easier when you line it with parchment paper. And I've sprayed it with cooking oil spray. You can spray it any way you want, or you can butter it. I choose to use coconut oil spray because, as you can see, it re-solidifies and doesn't all run down to the bottom. It stays put. Now we're just going to empty these in here. Now while I'm smoothing this out, you want to have your oven preheated to 350 degrees. You don't want your rack on the lowest rack. You want it closer to the middle. That way it will bake evenly on top and bottom. Now I'm going to pop this into my 350 degree preheated oven until they are starting to get nice and brown around the edges, and the middle may still seem a little underdone. I'll show you what they look like when they're there. Now these beauties are out of the oven and they smell and look absolutely divine. They baked for between 25 and 30 minutes. To be oddly specific, mine baked for exactly 27 minutes, give or take a few seconds. And as you can see, that nice golden brown edge, and it's nice and puffed right now. Now as it sits, it's going to deflate a little. It's not going to be so puffy in the middle. It's going to deflate and settle a little bit, but that's what you want it to do. And see, it almost like has a crackly, almost like brownie top, and that's what you want. Now when you touch the middle, you're going to think those aren't done, those need to go back in the oven. No, you want to pull them out when they're just shy of being done, because the heat of the pan and the heat in the cookie bars themselves will finish cooking it by carryover cook. They will finish cooking them to perfection. If you pull them out when they are perfectly done, the carryover cook will set in and they will become hard. Instead of nice and chewy and melt in your mouth and delicious, they will be hard. And you do not want them to be hard. You want them to be melt in your mouth delicious. You are going to love these. After tasting these and the taste, the texture, the ease of making these, you are going to say, chocolate chip cookies, who? So remember, come back next time to Angela K's Kitchen, where I take you from gourmet to everyday and everything in between. God bless.